So we are doing equivalent ratios. That's when equivalent means equal. So when we think of the word equivalent, we're talking about things that are equal. We're talking about equal ratios. So an equivalent ratio is a ratio that names the same relationships are called equivalent ratios. Equivalent ratios can be found by scaling up. So sometimes you have to make them equivalent by multiplying both numbers, or scaling down. So sometimes you have to make them equivalent by dividing both numbers. So for example, Lucinda, it mixed 6 cups of apple juice with 4 cups of cranberry juice to make apple cranberry juice. I was thinking cran apple juice, but whatever. Write 3 equivalent ratios for the amount of apple juice to the amount of cranberry juice. So the amount of apple juice to the amount of cranberry juice. So that would be 4 cups of cranberry. So here is one ratio. So if I multiplied those ratios, here, I'm just going to use a different color. If I multiplied those ratios both by 2, that would be 12/8. That's equivalent. That's the same thing. Okay, if I took and I divided the 6 and the 4 both by 2, that would be 3/2. All of these are equivalent ratios. Okay, so we know they're equal. So for questions 1 and 2, use the pictures below to make 3 equivalent ratios. So soccer balls, 2 footballs, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so here's one answer. One answer. So another answer, I could times them both by 5. I don't even care. So that would be 10/30. That's another one. Or I could take and I could divide them both by 2. So that would be 1/3. All of those are equivalent ratios. So I would like you to pause the video and I would like you to do actually we'll do it together, sorry. Just because then you can do some of the bottom ones. So footballs, 6 to the total number of balls, 8. So here's one answer. And so to do an equivalent ratio, I might multiply by 2 and I get 12/16. Personally, I would just probably multiply by 2. It's easier. And then maybe I divide by 2. And so then that would be 3/4. So those are equivalent ratios. Okay. So the next one wants you to write 2 equivalent ratios for each ratio. So I'm going to do some of these and then I'm going to have you do them. But if it's written like this, 16 to 12, like if I times them by 2, that would be 32 to 24. Leave it in the same thing. Or if I divided them both by 2, that would be 8 to 6. Okay, so on the next one, if I times them both by 2, I'm going to leave it in the same form. If I times them both by 2, that would be 10 to 60. And I can't divide by 2, but I could divide by 5. Wouldn't that be 1 to 6? And on the last one, it's given as a fraction, so I want you to write as a fraction. If I times by 2, it'd be 30/24. And I can't divide by 2, but I could divide by 3. So that would be 5/4. So those are all equivalent. So I would like you to do number 4, 5, and 6. Pause the video, do 4, 6, and 8. Okay, do those 3. So if I times them by 2, that would be 4 to 14. And I can't divide them by anything, so maybe I times by 2 again, because sometimes you're not going to be able to divide, and that's fine. So 8 to 28. Okay, there's a million answers. You could times them both by 10 and get 10 to 20 to 70. So there's a million answers that are correct. Okay, so on the next one, 48, 18, if I doubled it, 96 to 36. If I divided it by 6, divided by 6 would be 8 to 3. Okay, and then on the last one, if I doubled it, it would be 72 to 16. And if I divided it by 4, it would be 9 to 2. Okay, so I'm keeping it the same. So sometimes you multiply, sometimes you divide. All right, so if I look at this next group, okay, so I'm going from 1 to 5, and now I want to go to 4 to something. Well, what did I multiply or divide? Either way, but in this case, didn't I multiply 1 by 5 to get 5? And so wouldn't I have to multiply 4 by 5, and that's 20? Okay, same thing here. What did I do? I multiplied by 8. So I would have to multiply by 8 and my answer is 56. Okay. And so on this one, if you look, I'm going backwards because from 10 to 5, didn't I divide by 2? So if I divide by 2, I have to go the other way. This is 9. Same thing here. I'm going from 2 to here. I'm multiplying by 7. So here I multiply by 7. So that would be 35. Okay. I would like you to do 11 and 14. Pause the video and do 11 and 14. Okay, so on 11, I'm going from 40 back, 12 back. What did I do to go back? I divided by 4, so here I would divide by 4. Ooh, if I divide by 4, I get 10. Sorry. Okay, and here, same thing. I'm going forward, so I would times by 3. So here I would times by 3, and the answer is 24. So I would probably just, you got to take a look at it and keep them equivalent and figure out, did I multiply, did I divide? Okay. All right. So on question 15, now we're doing applications. The ratio of the number of students to chaperone on a field trip is 15 to 2. I'm guessing that no one takes a field trip with 15 people. Not very often. Okay. So if there are 60 students, I want to know how many chaperones do I need? So you go on a Corel trip, they're thinking about this. So what did I do to go from 15 to 60? I multiplied by 4. So I would have to do the same thing here and multiply by 4. And so I would need 8 chaperones. So that is how you're going to use these ratios. You're going to use them in the real world to keep things equal. Okay? Because if you have 2 chaperones for every 15 kids and then you have 60 and you still have 2 chaperones, that's probably not a good thing. Okay? Micah earned 2 points for every 3 questions he answered correctly on a test. If he answered 24, so I would make a little thing. You're doing points for correct. Okay? So I'm doing 2 points for every 3 questions he answered correctly. If he answered 24 questions correctly, so that goes on the bottom because I did correctly on the bottom, didn't I? And so what did I do? I multiplied by 8. So if I multiply here by 8, it would be 16. So how many points did he earn? 16 points. Okay. All right, so let's take a look at the next one. It says Karina makes $27 for every 2 hours. So this is dollars over hours. And you don't have to write the words, but I would probably suggest it. I know when I was watching you do your math, you like to kind of do some stuff like that. It will help us in the long run. So if she worked 36 hours, so that has to go on the bottom because my hours too is on the bottom. How much money did she make? So what did I do to go to 2 to 36? I multiplied by 18, and you can totally use a calculator because I don't know what 27 times 18 is. I would have to pick up a calculator and do it, and it's $486. Okay. So I would like you to pause the video, and I would like you to do 18 and 19. All right, so I'm going to write these answers. If you get them wrong and you can't see what you did, please text me. This one was 72 calories, and this one is 150 boys. Okay? All right, so then the last one, are they equivalent? That's the question. Ratios with the simplest are equivalent. Determine if these are equivalent. Okay, so 1 to 2 is simplified. If I divide these both by 6, I get 1 to 2. So my answer is yes. Okay, they are equivalent. Okay, on the next one, I would simplify. So 18 and 24, they both can be divided by 3. So that's 8. Ooh, I think I can even go bigger. Can I do 6? Sorry. 6. So that's 4 to 3. And then here I can divide both of these by 5, so 4 to 3. So the answer on this is yes. I can't write yes. Okay, on this one, 3 to 7 is simplified. 3 goes into 9, but it doesn't go into 28. So I can't simplify that, and they're not the same. So your answer is no. All right, I would like you to do 23, 24, and 25, please. Okay, so if I simplify them, I believe 16, I can't think right now. 16 goes into 48, doesn't it? 48 divided by 16, you have your pink sheet. Yes, 3 times. So I can divide both of these by 16. So that would be 3 to 1. And here I can divide both of these by 2, and so that's 3 to 2. So the answer on that is no. Okay, on the next one, I can divide both of these by 2, and so that's 2 to 5. I can divide both of these by 7, so that's 2 to 5, so my answer is yes. And then finally, 24, I think 24 goes into 72, and that's not on the pink sheet. So if you got it, yep, it does. So on 27, I'm going to take and I'm going to divide both sides by 24, so 1 to 3. And here I'm going to divide both of these by 4, which is 1 to 3, so my answer is yes. So these are equivalent fractions.